For me, this discussion board inspired a lot of thought. I know that feeling of being afraid and nervous, butterflies chomping all over your stomach whenever you stand up for something and you aren't quite sure what to expect. But to be honest, I couldn't quite put my finger on a particular incident. And then I remembered my freshman English class. We were doing a project on the Lord of the Flies. My class had to pretend like we were on our own island. I mean, we went all out, electing a leader and only having a limited amount of supplies to complete certain tasks. It was the coolest project ever. Every day we were allotted a certain number of points for small projects we did in that class. Those points would then translate onto our grades. I remember we had one student who happened to be one of my really good friends, was out for a whole week or so, and was behind on our whole point system. So I decided to level the field since I had extra points that day. So when we went to give points for the projects that we'd done, I gave her 2 points, 2 extra points. But the problem was the number of points you got every day determined your daily grade too. So whoever got the most points got 100, and then the points degraded from there. And so she got 100 for not being there, and a lot of my classmates were really upset about that. And it kind of spiraled down into a huge debate about whether she should still be on the island at all because she hadn't been showing up and we were just having to pull some of her own weight. And so it was me and then a few of my other friends all against the entire rest of the class. And it got pretty brutal. There were some tears shed by a few of my classmates, and it wasn't pretty. But in the end, we understood the whole point of Lord of the Flies, having all of those kids together trying to survive and turning on each other. It's kind of what we did in my class. So, as compared to the Fruitland Farms fiasco, I think it turned out a little bit better. I didn't really get the outcome that I wanted. I gave my friend those points, and she got the grade that she needed, but it wasn't really fair to the rest of my class. The debate that followed was pretty rough. I stood up for my morals, and that's super important, but I believe, just in this day and age in general, that people sometimes don't think enough into their hearts and their own morals when they act in defense of what they believe in. They just follow their whims, based on their morals. And honestly, it's hard to make much of a dent in the world in the right ways. And people don't want to change, and people don't think about the way that they present themselves to make that change. So Fruitlands seemed like a good idea in theory, but did they really consider the consequences and hardships that would occur because of their choices? If they really wanted their beliefs to be successful and move past themselves, shouldn't they have executed their ideas in a much different way? And I feel like that's the exact same way that I should have executed my ideals in a much better way, thinking about it before I acted on my whims. As you can see by my jacket and the background, that I really like Captain America, and I respect him because he stood up for his own morals and his beliefs. In his circumstance, it actually turned out a whole lot better for him than it did in my story or Fruitlands Farm's story. And I guess I really respect him for that, because he stood up for his morals, but he also took into consideration what he needed to do before he did it. And I really respect him for that. So that's my discussion board. Thanks for listening.